So Facebook, I have the pleasure of having an awesome mother and business owner to be continued on that story, but her name is Jacqueline Randall. Ms. Randall has decided to pull up today to just talk about education from her perspective, a mother's perspective. So do me a favor, welcome Ms. Jacqueline. Ms. Jacqueline, welcome to Becoming Carmen. Just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Jacqueline. Hey, thank you for having me. Um, I'm a mother of two beautiful babies, and I've been an educator. 15, 16 years. Been a while. And I just love education. I come from a family of educators, and it's a passion. It's always been a passion, even when I was, ooh, I don't even want to say a teenager. Before then, like it's been there. So
Wow. So you come from a long history of educators. I know you were telling me a little bit about your story and your grandmother and your grandpa, whatever, in the history of what they instilled in you. And I'm going to talk more about that later. But thinking about coming from this history of educators, can you tell me a little bit from your perspective as a mother and an educator, your thoughts on the history of education in Missouri or in your community?
I think stepping back and looking at the whole board, I think that it has not changed in the way that it should have changed in all of these years. So from the time my mother went to school, her mother went to school, it's still the same system and it doesn't work. And so it leaves a lot for parents to do as far as filling in that gap of what they're missing. And it leaves a lot for the community to do because it is the same general layout from yesteryears. So overall, like we've made progress, but it's a very slow progress, I think.
I know it's tough navigating through that. You said a lot, it leaves a lot for the families, it leaves a lot for the community to do. So you have to kind of navigate through all of those because you're a parent, you're in the community, and you have to put on the hat of an educator. So thinking about those three pendulums, I asked you another question to think about. Why is having options? Why is having an option important to you as a parent?
I think having an option is important because as a parent, you in of multiple, you see one child is completely different from the next child. And when you're in the classroom as a teacher, you see there are so many different learning styles that one method of teaching and one structure of education doesn't fit each child. Where I have two girls, but I know one school setting will be perfect for my eldest and one would be completely perfect for my youngest. So being able to have that choice of putting one over here and one over here in this structure that works for them versus just putting them into something that is a one and done doesn't work for me. And it's not gonna work for my kids. And it doesn't work for the community's kids either because we have some kids that are more hands-on, more techie, more mechanical, and they're in school and it's just rote learning for them, so they've tuned out. But if you ask them to build a robot, they can build a robot out of cardboard boxes in an hour. But that needs not being met in the current classroom for them. So parents having options that mold their children and fit their children, I think is very important.
Wow. As an educator, as a parent, I'm going to go back and actually listen to that again and just try to dissect and digest what you shared. But as an educator, you are aware that there are different types of schools. So you know, traditionally, we have St. Louis public schools, whether it be in the city or the county. We have now charter schools that are in the city, and now they can come into the county if the law allows based on provisional accreditation. We have independent and parochial schools as well. Parents can homeschool, and there's private schools. So there's all of these different options for parents. Can you speak to a little bit, because you live in North County, in the 24-1 community, can you speak to, because you're not a supporter of charter schools, to my understanding, but why are you considering the leadership school, or have you chosen the leadership school as your option for your children?
I've taught it public and private, and I've taught it charter. And
wow, I didn't know that.
In my academic years, I heard all these wonderful things about charter, and I fell in love with it. And then when charter came to St. Louis City, and I got the opportunity to work for one charter, I was like, no, this not it. This don't sit right with the spirit. I gotta go. And it was just like academically, it was there, and that was what the babies needed. But social, emotionally, behavior wise, culture wise, like it was not a good fit for, like, in my opinion. And so I just couldn't get with it. And so I went back in my head as a parent, like, okay, charter's off the block. Let's, consider public or private, or we're just gonna go back to homeschool. And so recently I heard about the leadership school, and I was like, okay, sounds good. Let me look into it. And as I started to look into it, as they started to work with my elders, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Not only is it giving her that social emotional, like, environment, and it's giving her that academic, where I want to say it was the spring, either the spring or the summer, she worked with them, and they were doing a lesson, and my daughter was like, you could tell she was kind of getting bored with it, and so who was instructing her gave her a grade higher question, and really pushed her to, like, do it and just see if she could do it, and ask those open-ended questions that, like, me as a teacher knows, like, you're supposed to do this, this, this. So I'm in parent mode, but teacher mode is paying attention. And I'm like, oh, if you're doing this just in, like, a spring or summer camp, I can only imagine what you're doing when you open and you're running full throttle. And just seeing how they have these pillars about leadership, where we just did parent teacher conferences, and they're like, well, she's very, strong willed. And in my head, I'm like, you need to be. Just in the climate that we're in, you need a strong willed person, boy or girl. You need a strong willed person. You need a person that's going to stand up for themselves. So I'm like, teacher me get to, but mommy me knows, like, that's not going to change. So for them to kind of nurture that and guide that into a positive is where my kid needs to be. Like, I need my kid to be here, because I know if you stay in the current setting, your needs won't get met, and eventually you'll get stifled. And I don't want that. So that's why I kind of fell into, like, in love with the leadership school, because it feels like it's that piece of an education environment that St. Louis is missing, where we have some really great public and private schools that hit academically but not socially, or they hit socially but not academically, or culturally, but it's not a good complete fit. And yes, so I think the leadership school is going to be a good complete fit for a lot of kids.
Wow. So throughout this process, Ms. Randall,
Mhm.
Kimberly has been trying to engage you and keep you informed on what's going on.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So again, I love the fact that not only are you a mom, but you are an educator and an advocate.
Mhm.
Can you said that, and I'm glad you said this, like my first introduction with charters like wasn't like all of the best. It wasn't peaches and cream. This was okay, but not this. But
Mhm.
in this particular instance, with this particular school, you like what you're seeing.
Yes.
So when you think about options, because typically in St. Louis, Missouri, in the state, we've only had traditional public school,
Mhm.
or you go to private school in which you have to pay. Now, the last time I checked, you black, I'm black, and not to play the race game, but most of our people cannot afford private school, or we don't know how to navigate through scholarship
Mhm.
options. So I believe, and this is a personal opinion, that districts either need to be more flexible with the options and how they partner with parents, or allow choice or some type of option to be available to parents. Do you believe that parents have the ability to navigate education like they should?
No. Um, a lot of parents don't even know about the resources that are out there on a general level, as far as tutoring or um, food assistance. So as far as scholarships and everything else to other districts, that's like a unknown to most. So like if you're not in the know, you don't know when open enrollment starts for the following year. Where with public schools, they usually do enrollment towards the end of the year. Where private schools and some charters, they start enrollment in October. So even if you as a parent find out about this school and or in love with this school, you already missed the enrollment portion of it. So you can't even go.
Yeah.
So
Don't be applying for a gifted or a magnet program, because it's a whole
yeah.
different thing.
Right, it's a whole different ball game. So I think there is a lot that parents aren't aware of when it comes to education and just navigating the different lanes that's available to them.
Wow. I got two more questions, and then I'm gonna let you get back to them beautiful kids. If you could tell, and I want to look at this one so I can read it correctly. If you
Okay.
could tell school leaders, administrators, policymakers, local politicians, all those people, anything about the importance of parent inclusion, options in education, and I know I kind of said this just then, but one more time, what would you tell school leaders, administrators, influencers, and local politicians about parent inclusions and options in education?
Um, that not all parents are ignorant, not all parents are your enemies, that we want to see the baby succeed just like we want to see the school succeed. So if you can form some type of partnership with them, not only will you get the results that you have been aiming for with these testing and all of that, you'll get a better community as a whole, and you'll get that old feeling back where you having PTA meetings and it's full of parents, or you're having drives and the chocolate drive, and you're bringing in all of this extra money because you have that parent participation. But you have to work with your parents and open that door and open that dialogue, and not just allow them 2 minutes to speak, but actually listen and partner with them.
Wow. So My last question is, and it's related to education, but it's not. Like last week, you blew my mind. You blew my mind so much that I went and did a live, no, Instagram about the dope lady that I got to speak to that I did not know how amazing you were. So here's some of the things I shared on my live because like y'all, if y'all don't know, Ms. Randall does not do social media. Like if she's on there, it's to say what she got to say for her kids and then she gone. But like when I was talking to you last week, like I found out like you are a publisher, like you are a writer, like you write books and stuff. And then like, you know, all of this stuff about money and finances and how to navigate through the, I don't want to quote stock market and stuff. Like you're freaking dope. Can you like just touch a little bit about the fact that you are an author and a publisher? Because then I'm going to beg you for one more thing.
Yeah, so I have a independent publishing company. We are about to be going on 3 years, but we ooh, in the 2.5 years we have done almost 10, almost 10 books. Not all of them are mine. We offer editing, we offer ghostwriting, we offer content mapping, planning. Um, we're helping authors actually put their stories out and be successful. So I'm not just publishing your story and that's it and uploading it to Amazon. I'm actually telling you how to market your book and how to make it be successful and how to bring in more more than two streams of income. I'm teaching you how to get both passive and aggressive income. Um,
I don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna learn.
so that's the publishing company. We worked like on a national level. We're expanding in 2021, so I'm really excited about that. It's a lot.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm not gonna ask no more questions. But like, if you don't know Julius B. Anthony, like I don't really know him, but like I met him kind of like meeting you, and he blew my mind. I didn't know he was an author, and I didn't know he was dope, and like he was like so amazing. Like now I meet a Black woman that's doing like what Julius doing. So you like dope, and now I'm gonna be on your bumper like I'm on his. Like we have amazing people doing the work that care and like I want to know you. Like I would love to do another interview with you where we're just talking about you, the author, you, the mogul, you, the teacher of your people, empowering your people. Because when we talked last week, it seemed like that's all you really cared about was impacting your people for real change. And I love that. So I would love to bring you back to just talk about you as an author, as a powerful Black woman doing the work in our community. If you're open to that, like it would be my honor to just talk to you about you as a publisher.
Okay, I would love to.
So world, with that being said, like this is Jacqueline Randall. She just decided to pull up to just talk about the leadership school from her perspective as a parent, as a community person, her thoughts about education, as a parent, as a community member. If you have thoughts about education in your community and you want to voice your opinion, please reach out to me and I would love to get your story heard. Until next time, have a good day.